CM Punk may have once again fallen out with All Elite Wrestling, thus why he was not involved in yesterday's AEW Collision announcement. The reason behind his falling out with AEW reportedly has to do with the rehiring or lack thereof with Ace Steel. Warner Bros. Discovery are hoping that AEW and CM Punk can resolve their issues and Punk will once again be involved and be front and center for AEW Collision as the reported hard brand split is on the horizon. So much going on with the drama surrounding CM Punk and AEW. We've got all angles covered here. The Elite, they have reunited. They're going to be facing the Blackpool Combat Club in Anarchy at the Arena at Double or Nothing. Orange Cassidy is going to be defending his international championship in a battle royale at the pay-per-view. Wardlow will be defending his TNT championship against Christian Cage in a ladder match at Double or Nothing. Jamie Hayter will be defending her women's championship. We'll let you know who against. Karen Jarrett makes her AEW Dynamite debut last night on TBS. Andrade says he's back after the announcement that he was involved with the AEW Collision show. Plus, the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships will be on the line next week on AEW Dynamite. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of All Elite Wrestling, particularly when it comes to CM Punk and the drama surrounding the two-time former AEW World Champion just seemingly will not go away, and it looks like CM Punk and AEW may have had another falling out. A new report has revealed that CM Punk and AEW could be at odds once again, hence why CM Punk was pulled from yesterday's AEW Collision announcements. Now, as we've already covered extensively yesterday, be sure to check out those videos. Warner Bros. Discovery accidentally revealed that CM Punk was originally scheduled to be on Collision promotional materials, but was seemingly removed at the last minute. We covered that yesterday too. Now, Sean Rossap of Fightful Select also posted a report that said, despite Punk not being promoted, they'd heard that he was still planned to be involved moving forward, and his longtime associate Ace Steel may have been in line to getting rehired. Well, as it turns out, maybe not anymore. PW Insider is reporting that talk backstage in AEW yesterday during the Dynamite tapings is that CM Punk and AEW are again, quote, at odds, this time over the return of Ace Steel. According to the report, things were in motion for what Fightful had said, with CM Punk set for AEW Collision and Steel to be on his way back to the company. However, at some point, a decision was made that Steel would not be brought in to work backstage at Collision tapings, which was originally presented to Punk. Punk obviously wants him to be there, so there has been another falling out, and that's why CM Punk was removed from all the promotional stuff yesterday. We kind of covered this yesterday when it came to the Fightful Select report. Impact Wrestling sources had told PW Insider that the company was recently interested in hiring Ace Steel, and when he passed on that, it became apparent that meant he was planning to go to either AEW or WWE. So the timing lines up that AEW and AEW return was indeed planned. Now, Sean Rossap of Fightful Select, we kind of covered this last night, but the pieces weren't really put together until today. Sean Rossap had reported that the idea of actually bringing Steel back was something suggested by Chris Jericho in the recent Punk Jericho-Tony Khan meeting. It was added that there was another new meeting this week between AEW and CM Punk, where Punk was told Steel would be able to directly work with him, but would not be able to actually attend physically the AEW television tapings. Now, Warner Bros. Discovery yesterday, when asked after the confusion about Punk not being included in the press release, but also being included in emails that were then edited, when asked, Warner Bros. Discovery said that Punk was, quote, not affiliated with AEW Collision. The debut episode of the show is scheduled to take place on Saturday, June 17. It's rumored to be taking place in Punk's hometown of Chicago and was supposed to be his big return. We'll give you a bit of an update as to what Tony Khan said about it last night on AEW Dynamite as well, because again, it does give the indication that this situation is very, very fluid. Now, the reaction from Warner Bros. Discovery regarding the latest reported falling out between CM Punk and All Elite Wrestling has now been revealed. As I mentioned, as it emerged yesterday, Punk was set to be included in all of the announcements for the new AEW Collision show, but was removed at the last minute. As I mentioned, PW Insider reported this was because of another falling out, this time over the return of Punk's longtime associate Ace Steel. As I mentioned, this led to a lot of confusion, with Warner Bros. Discovery saying CM Punk is not affiliated with TNT's AEW Collision. We'll touch on what Tony Khan said on AEW Dynamite last night, what his announcement was regarding, and kind of announced that there was going to be another announcement coming up as well. But on today's Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer said, and obviously Dave Meltzer, we know how involved he's been in all of the CM Punk drama over the last 6 months or so. He said on today's Wrestling Observer Radio about what he has heard from people at Warner Bros. Discovery about the situation, saying, quote, "From the WBD side, because nobody from the AEW side has talked about this at all, nor confirmed any of this, from the WBD side, they have said that their belief is that there will be an attempt to work it out. They're hopeful that they work it out and that it's not a dead deal." Now, as I mentioned, it was a busy day for All Elite Wrestling yesterday with the reveal of their new Saturday night show, AEW Collision, the live broadcast of AEW Dynamite in Austin, Texas, which we'll get into some of the big stories coming out about that. But as I mentioned, according to Dave Meltzer on the Wrestling Observer Radio, Punk was indeed supposed to be a part of AEW Collision's announcement yesterday that was made at the Warner Bros. Discovery upfront in New York City. However, WBD were supposedly told to remove CM Punk from all of their material, although they ended up forgetting to remove him from the press release, which ended up being leaked. Meltzer disclosed that a, quote, "situation," end quote, did occur, and that PW Insider's reporting regarding that story about Ace Steel is, quote, "pretty close." It said that Warner Bros. Discovery believe an attempt will be made to work everything out. So, it doesn't look like, according to Dave Meltzer, that Punk's removal was a storyline plan or a plan to not have CM Punk announced until closer to the show or anything like that. By all accounts, as of yesterday morning or something like that, Punk was to be involved in the press release. Punk was to be there front and center. He was even involved in promotional graphics. There reportedly was a match graphic made between himself and Samoa Joe. But then at the last minute, Warner Bros. Discovery were instructed to remove CM Punk from all of those materials, from the announcement, and it has to do, reportedly, due to Ace Steel. Of course, Punk reacted to all of this last night. We spoke about this too in last night's video. He went on social media, he spoke about pro wrestling fans being tribal, he posted some Instagram stories taking shots at Brian Alvarez, saying Brian Alvarez can't stop talking about me, so it's just more drama, certainly. Now, when it comes to CM Punk, another bit of news regarding him, amidst the confusion surrounding his possible involvement with the upcoming AEW Collision program, CM Punk did receive a bit of good news yesterday. The Cauliflower Alley Club announced that the former AEW World Champion will be the 2023 recipient of the Iron Mike Mazurki Award. According to the Cauliflower Alley Club, the award has been bestowed upon individuals who have made exceptional contributions to professional wrestling and have exhibited outstanding dedication to the sport both inside and outside of the ring. The award has been given to legendary names such as John Bradshaw Layfield, Sergeant Slaughter, Stu Hart, and other luminaries of the wrestling business. So a bit of good news for CM Punk there. Now, when it comes to these additional details, a lot of people were tuning into AEW Dynamite last night to see what Tony Khan was going to be saying. Of course, he had been promoting this big announcement. He said it was going to start on TNT and then it was going to be expanded upon on TBS last night for Dynamite, and we didn't really see that. Some people thought the absence of Punk from the promotional materials from Collision yesterday was just because Tony Khan was going to announce that on Dynamite, but that didn't happen. After news that broke of AEW Collision being officially premiering on June 17 at the Warner Bros. Discovery upfronts on Wednesday, Tony Khan provided some additional details as to where the show will be emanating from over the next several weeks. During Wednesday's edition of Dynamite, Khan announced that the new Saturday show was headed to Canada and set to make a stop in Toronto, Ontario at the Scotiabank Arena on June 24, the night before AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling's joint pay-per-view Forbidden Door. He divulged that the company was headed to the first Ontario Centre in Hamilton, Ontario on June 29, Regina, Saskatchewan's Brant Centre on July 8, and the Scotiabank Saddle Dome in Calgary, Alberta, Canada on July 15, before the show comes to the United States at the Prudential Centre in Newark, New Jersey on July 22nd. Now, what was interesting is he did leave out where the premiere episode was going to be taking place. He noted that the location of the premiere date would be kept under wraps for the time being, and he would provide more information in regards to that next week. Now, again, some people are speculating this is because they are still trying to work out the situation between AEW and CM Punk, and next week is the time that they'll announce that it's going to be taking place at the United Center in Chicago, Illinois, and it's going to be called The Second Coming, which had been the rumored and the reported name for the show. But some people are also suggesting it's a case of in 7 days, they've got to figure out, okay, if it's not going to be taking place at the United Center, if CM Punk isn't going to be involved, we've got to have it be somewhere else. We've got to do something else. So a big 7 days certainly for AEW, a big 7 days for CM Punk. I know that's a lot of information there, guys, but What are your thoughts on all of this? What are your thoughts on the madness that is CM Punk and All Elite Wrestling? What are your thoughts on Ace still being hired, rehired, but not rehired, allowed to work with CM Punk, but not come to television tapings? Is Punk okay to be upset about that? Is Punk justified to be upset about that? Is Punk wrong for being removed from the announcements and match graphics and promotional materials just hours before a multi-million-dollar show has been announced by a network that it's on? What are your thoughts on this entire situation? Let me know your thoughts, as always, in the comment section below. I know this is a really, really interesting topic, and I'm really fascinated to hear you guys' opinions on it. Now, speaking of Dynamite last night, amidst all of the chaos in AEW, there was a show that went on last night, and the Elite is back together, just in time for a big showdown with the Blackpool Combat Club at AEW's Double or Nothing pay-per-view. Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, and Hangman Adam Page formally reunited on screen at the very end of Wednesday night's AEW Dynamite. Omega was the first to emerge from backstage, interrupting an interview with Don Callis, who betrayed Omega and cost him a steel cage match against the Blackpool Combat Club's Jon Moxley on last week's AEW Dynamite. However, a large contingent of security guards blocked Omega's path to revenge, and Callis quickly escaped. That's when Moxley and the rest of the Blackpool Combat Club, Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, and Wheeler Yuta, launched an attack on Omega. Moments later, the Young Bucks emerged, still hobbled by a backstage attack by the Blackpool Combat Club earlier on in the show. Finally, Hangman Adam Page made his surprise entrance and turned the tide, forcing the Blackpool Combat Club to retreat. Page had not been seen on AEW television since Danielson targeted his eye with a screwdriver just over a month ago. Sporting an eye patch as a remnant of the attack, Page took the microphone and announced that the Elite and the Blackpool Combat Club would meet in an Anarchy at the Arena match at Double or Nothing. Prior to his appearance on Wednesday night's Dynamite, Page returned to in-ring action in a match against Big Bill at AEW's non-televised House Rules show in Salem, Virginia this past Saturday night. The first Anarchy in the Arena match occurred at last year's Double or Nothing pay-per-view. On that night, it was the Jericho Appreciation Society, that being Chris Jericho, Angelo Parker, Daniel Garcia, Jake Hager, and Matt Menard, who defeated the combined forces of the Blackpool Combat Clubs Danielson and Moxley, along with Eddie Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz. Now, Kenny Omega's also referenced the Elite's return to AEW television, or combined return to AEW TV. Following Dynamite going off the air, a fan posted a video to Twitter capturing the Elite celebrating the fact they were all back on the same side. Omega commented on how their unlikely reunion proves that men that once hated each other or one another can hash it out for the greater good, which some have taken as a potential reference to their issues with CM Punk. Omega said, quote, "I saw a sign out there in the crowd, where's Hangman? I saw another sign in the crowd, who can you trust, Kenny? I think we found Hangman. I also think I found who I can trust. There's a lot to celebrate today. You brought up a new show coming, AEW Collision. That's exciting news. That all pales in comparison to something more near and dear to my heart, and that's catching up with someone that I thought I'd maybe never able to be in the same room with again. If there's one thing that this proves, Hangman, it's that bitter enemies, bitter rivals, men that once hated one another, can sit in a room, can sit in a ring, and can hash it out for the greater good. So call me old-fashioned, if you will, but to me, that sounds like a cause for a celebration." Brandon Cutler then made his way to the ring with a celebratory alcoholic beverages for all men. However, Omega does not drink, something Page would attempt to change, leading to this exchange between the two men. Quote, "Now hold the phone there, Senior Page, hold the telephone. Now there is a lot of things I'm willing to try once, twice if I like it, but alcohol, now that might be a bridge too far, my friend. We just got back together, for goodness sakes. I'm straight edge, hello." Of course, CM Punk is also straight edge, but that's got nothing to do with that, certainly. But what are your thoughts that the Elite are back together and their big match is now set for Double or Nothing? Several big matches were set for Double or Nothing as well, it must be said. Several title matches in that. Orange Cassidy has been defending his AEW International Championship against a seemingly endless parade of opponents over the last few months. So it seems to make sense that he would prefer a more efficient model of turning away title challenges. After Cassidy stated he would defend his championship against anyone who wants a shot, he learned during Wednesday night's AEW Dynamite that at least 20 individuals had approached AEW President Tony Khan to express their interest. In response, Cassidy offered a take on all of his would-be challengers at once. 20, huh? Cassidy said during a backstage interview on Dynamite. That's a lot. All right, I guess I'll just fight them all. That will happen at Double or Nothing on Sunday, May 28th, where Cassidy will defend his title against 20 challengers in a blackjack battle royale. As of this recording, AEW has yet to announce the 20 participants who will try and dethrone Cassidy's reign as AEW International Champion. Cassidy last defended his title against Daniel Garcia on the May 10 episode of AEW Dynamite, following a successful title defense against Bandido on April 26. Since defeating Jeff Jarrett to become the inaugural International Champion in March, Cassidy has put away the likes of The Butcher, Dralistico, Buddy Matthews, and Gabriel Kidd at various televised events. Cassidy became the All-Atlantic Champion last October with a victory over Pac. The title was renamed when AEW visited Canada for a pair of shows earlier on this year. In addition to that, as I mentioned, several other matches were announced for Double or Nothing last night on AEW Dynamite, one being for the TNT Championship. Wardlow will be defending his TNT Championship against Christian Cage in a ladder match at Double or Nothing. Wednesday's edition of AEW Dynamite kicked off with a bang after the title holder called Cage out to the ring as a result of weeks of animosity between the pair. Cage and his right-hand man Luchasaurus answered the call. A verbal exchange between the pair ensued before the two got into a brawl, which ultimately resulted in Luchasaurus delivering a chokeslam to Wardlow through a ladder. While Wardlow was being chucked down by medical staff following the commercial break, his mentor, Arn Anderson, approached him and expressed that he should have been in the ring with him. Wardlow explained he told him to stay in the back in an effort to protect him before challenging Christian Cage to the aforementioned bout with some encouragement from Anderson, and the match was made official. This will be Wardlow's first defense of the title since dethroning Powerhouse Hobbs on the April 19 episode of AEW Dynamite. Speaking of title matches at Double or Nothing, the AEW Women's World Championship will also be on the line. As doubts cloud on her on-screen medical status, the path for Jamie Hayter must follow to remain AEW Women's World Champion into this summer is coming sharply into focus. During Wednesday night's episode of AEW Dynamite, it was announced that Hayter will defend her title at the Double or Nothing pay-per-view against the outcast Toni Storm. It's a rematch of the bout at Full Gear last November that saw Hayter win the title for the first time by defeating the aforementioned Storm. Hayter, of course, did not appear on Wednesday's AEW Dynamite despite being promoted for a trios match against Storm and the rest of the Outcasts. AEW President Tony Khan announced just hours before the broadcast that Hayter was not medically cleared. Her health has been a key component of her story since she was rammed shoulder first into the ring steps by Storm during a match on AEW Dynamite last month. A lot has transpired since their previous encounter at last year's Full Gear pay-per-view. On that night, Storm was the babyface trying to go for the interim to undisputed AEW Women's World Champion, determined to carry the AEW Women's division following Thunder Rosa's untimely injury. Hayter, meanwhile, was a heel, and the story going into the match was that she had abandoned her former roommate, Storm, after they broke into the business together while they were living in the United Kingdom. As such, the roles have since reversed this time around, with Storm portraying the heel and Hayter the fan favourite. So, certainly going to be an interesting one at Double or Nothing for the Women's Championship. Karen Jarrett made her AEW debut. I guess she is now also All Elite. Ahead of their match against Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal at this year's Double or Nothing, FTR thought they could get the drop on their challengers by attacking them on this week's Dynamite, as they are approaching the ring to speak with Tony Schiavone. The AEW World Tag Team Champions first disposed of Satnam Singh in grand fashion by sending him off the stage. Then, once in the ring, they planned to execute a big rig on Double J. However, the cavalry arrived just in the nick of time. When things looked bleak for the WWE Hall of Famer, Karen Jarrett entered the ring and surprised Cash Wheeler with a low blow. This opened the door for the Last Outlaw to take out Dax Harwood with the stroke. Plus, to add insult to injury, the Jarrett celebrated with their associates following a pair of brutal and personalized guitar shots to the champions. This isn't the first time that Jarrett's wife has stepped into the wrestling ring with him. The pair have a long history of working together in Impact Wrestling and Global Force Wrestling. During their times in the promotions, Karen was involved in storylines with AJ Styles, Booker T, Sharmell, Chyna, EC3, and her ex-husband Kurt Angle. She has also served as an authority figure in Impact Wrestling as the commissioner of the Knockouts division in 2011 and acted as a key player in GFW's Invasion of Impact Wrestling in 2017. While it's currently unclear if she has any plans in AEW beyond a managerial role for her husband and his team, or if this appearance was just part of a limited run, there's likely a number of people in the locker room that could find themselves at odds with Karen Jarrett in the future. Now, we spoke a lot today about AEW Collision. One person that is going to be involved is none other than Andrade El Idolo. Now, following the announcement of AEW Collision featuring El Idolo, he took to his Twitter account to state that he had no idea about the announcement. However, in a video video posted to the AEW TV Twitter account, the former WWE superstar proclaimed that he is back. Andrade said, quote, "Andrade's back. Andrade El Idolo's back. I just finished this amazing shoot. I can't wait for everyone to see it. And remember, Saturdays, so Andrade El Idolo's back." Of course, El Idolo hasn't appeared on AEW programming since the All Out 2022 pay-per-view. El Idolo was part of the headline stars on the AEW Collision announcement, along with the likes of Miro, Samoa Joe, Thunder Rosa, and Powerhouse Hobbs, but of course notably absent was none other than CM Punk. Finally, the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships will be on the line next week on AEW Dynamite. The Lucha Brothers will defend their Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships against Blackpool Combat Club's Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta on next week's AEW Dynamite. Castagnoli earned the right to challenge for the ROH Tag titles after defeating Rey Fenix in a double Jeopardy match on the May 10th episode of the show. Fenix and Penta El Zero Miedo of the Lucha Brothers have defended their titles only once against Powerhouse Hobbs and QT Marshall at Battle of the Belt 6. Since capturing the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships in a Reach for the Sky ladder match at Supercard of Honor. The brothers had won the vacated titles by defeating teams such as Top Flight, The Kingdom, Aussie Open, and La Faction Ingobernable. As of this recording, Lucha Brothers vs Blackpool Combat Club is the only match confirmed for next week's show, which will be AEW's final stop ahead of next weekend's Double or Nothing pay-per-view in Las Vegas. AEW is likely to announce more matches and segments for the show in the coming days, which of course is typically the norm. So expect more matches to come regarding next week's Dynamite soon. But there you go, guys. It's the latest AEW news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right hand corner. Let me know your thoughts as always in the comment section below. Remember, you can join the WN365 roster by clicking that join button, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.